Sox. This is the post show for the opening day of competition. The Roxy Pro finishing 5 big heats to get some of the heats set in round 3 and round 2. We had 1 heat left remaining, led by Stephanie Gilmore, so we might have to wait maybe one more day before we see the 6-time world champ head to the lineup. Joe Turpel, former world champ Martin Potter, former big wave champ Pete Mel. Well, that was a bit of a surprise this afternoon, not finishing that whole round. Obviously, Jessie Miley Dyer making a great call. Her concerned with the world's best. Everyone dealt with a lot of pain there, and unfortunately for Laura Enever, maybe the most pain, even leaving the water with still 10 minutes to go, Potts.
Well, I've been on the wrong side of the blue bottle as well, and I'm along with Jessie. I hate them. I don't know what they are there for. I don't know what they accomplish except hassle us. But, you know, you look at Carissa as well. She got stung, and a great call from Jessie to just pull the pin on that.
Aside from the pain they dealt with, Pete, we had some really impressive performances. Jessie kind of alluded to it as well. Nikki Van Dijk always has pressure when you're competing against the defending world champion, and she showed up and had the highest single score of the day.
And it all came down to that very first wave. It really did apply that pressure early, but it also kind of released the pressure off of Nikki Van Dijk, and she was able to kind of control the heat, especially the priority. She sat there for a while. She was getting that quick backup, and then she was able to build on it, middle of the heat, and just kept controlling the priority till the very, very end. You know, and there was a comeback being mounted by Tyler Wright. I mean, she got that 7-1-7, so it started to make it interesting. But when you get that early start, you kind of can control the heat. It's exactly what Nikki had to do against the champ.
It was a long wait to finally get those first few heats in the water pots, and you get to really dive into the storylines that we were anticipating. One true rookie in Bronte Bacale, a lot of comeback stories with Paulina Doe, and also looking at Silvana Lima. But the big breakthrough performance, we went back to Nikki's heat with the world champ, and she went to town. Got this 8-8-3 early. What'd you like about it, Potts?
Well, I just think, you know, there was no mucking about with it. I mean, every turn was clean. Every turn made sense on this wave. No mistakes whatsoever. Clean, smooth surf, and that's what the judges want to see. They want to see that nice, clean transition between turns, great wave selection, and nailed every single one of them. I mean, quite rightly, one of the highest scores of the day, and I think it's going to be hard to beat her. If she can produce this kind of surfing over the next few rounds, she's going to be definitely one to watch. And you know, we always talk about the usual suspects, you know, the Tyler Wright, Steph Gilmore, Courtney Conlogue, Carissa Moore. You know, there's a couple of young ladies in the mix there that can really produce upsets, and Nikki's one of those.
Pete, we remember Nikki start last season. At the time, she was coming off a win in Manly, and she had a very close loss. Didn't go her way to Gilmore at this event, round before the quarters. Then it almost had a repeat feeling. Very close loss to Tyler Wright at Bells. Those heats just weren't going her way. Maybe this year it will turn around.
Well, it's going to have to. She's going on to become a title contender. That's going to be her goal, obviously, coming into this season. And she's that close. I mean, her surfing has been there the whole time. But, I mean, just stringing together solid heats all the way through, like from, you know, buzzer to buzzer, has really been her kind of Achilles heel. So she's been starting off those great heats. And I think that when we watched her at the QS 6000, I mentioned this during the heat when we were watching it, but when she puts together that good first wave and can kind of set that momentum and rhythm, it kind of plays out all the way through the entire event. So let's see what happens here.
Really impressed to see Nikki come through with more weapons, putting pressure on Tyler. And we talk about rivalries a lot on tour, especially on the men's side. There seems to be kind of this underground rivalry with Nikki and Tyler. They're teammates, but I hear rumors on free surfing trips they push each other hard, and we got to see a lot of those battles last season come true. I want to call it a rivalry, Potts. Are you seeing it?
Well, why not? Let's do it. I mean, you know, Nikki's a gritty young Victorian, grown up at Phillip Island, so she's used to that to fight for stuff. You know, it's big gnarly conditions over there, always nice and cold, and big sharks swimming around. So you know, she's just not scared, and she likes to fight, and she really took it to Tyler today.
Interesting, Pete, with all the hype coming into the opening event of the season, we got to see 5 heats, so not quite everyone surf out of the top 17. Is it too early to critique equipment, performance, world title predictions, or do you like to kind of let it settle in a little bit through the week?
Oh, no, we're going to be critiquing straight out of the gates. That's our job, right? I mean, that's what we're going to do, but it's also kind of part of it. I mean, when you come here, you want to kind of make a statement, not only for yourself, and your competitors, but the guys upstairs, right? I mean, if you're going to show that you've kind of like all of a sudden you're like, whoa, there's a little spark there. There's like a little grit, you know, and that's what we saw from Nikki. I think it's a great way to start off of a first round here at the Roxy Pro, and hopefully she can keep that momentum going.
So very interesting. As we go back to round 1, heat number 1, Sally Fitzgibbons was very impressive to see show up today because she's looking better, more invigorated than ever, even though we're calling her basically a 10-year seasoned vet. She had some challengers to deal with. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Keely Andrew and Joanne DeFay. Pete, who's fresh off that win at Newcastle, the QS 6000 earlier this year.
This was a good heat. Again, Sally coming off of her worst season ever on the championship tour, and not making any finals really. And so it was a tough season for her. And she had to battle back in this one because Keely put together a great heat, and that kind of QS feel and that vibe that she's been carrying. She's very spontaneous and exciting with her surfing. She's been able to now kind of groom it and mature, and it's showed right here in this heat.
Really impressive to see this battle because it was back and forth. Sally was put into a corner where she needed to give us more. You noticed the flow and sort of taking it easy kind of approach, Potts, at the start of this heat. When Keely took the lead off her, Sally showed us she's been really training hard for some big moves this year.
Well, that's kind of what you want to do, Joe. You want to surf within your limits until pushed, and you don't want to show your best straight away in round one unless you really have to. Sally had to. I mean, Keely dropped a big score, 7.4, and said, hey, Sally, game on, let's do it, let's see what you got. And as Sally always does, she dug deep and got that bomb at the end, 7.97. But, I like the fact that Keely threw it in her court and said, let's do this, and as Sally does. I mean, she's a fighter. She's one of the world's best, and that's why.
What an exciting way to kick off the round with Sally's win, and then to close out the last heat of the day. Carissa Moore just took the win, and Moore is with Kaipo Guerrero.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. We talk about the usual suspects. Carissa Moore, obviously we expect to win a heat, and she didn't let us down, but challenging conditions out there, Carissa.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the best heat of my life. I would definitely have to say I was a little nervous coming into the season. I know everyone's been, fired up and surfing really good, and that was my first heat in 3 months. So I was like, oh, do I even remember how to surf a heat? And then throw in the little jellyfish on top of it. I hope Laura's okay. That was kind of scary, but overall, just stoked to get underway and get the show on the road.
Looks like you've been living life beyond surfing in the off season. What you been up to?
For the most part, I've just been home. I went on a nice family trip to Israel and Morocco, which was super different, and I really enjoyed that. But other than that, just been at home training and surfing and enjoying family time before being on the road for a couple months.
Well, congratulations and great opening to 2017.
Thanks so much.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kaipo. Carissa Moore battling through some tough conditions, but she showed a little bit of what she's been working on. Sometimes there's just one big signature move that Carissa debuts early in the season that we'll remember for a long time. I mean, it was about 1 foot on that section, Potts. We both jumped out of our chair. She has got a lot of power, and she's looking committed to that 4th world title.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you talked to her, told me before the stats. I mean, her third last year. Well, we're expecting a world title from her this year. Obviously, it's going to be a lot tougher. Tyler Wright surfing incredibly well. Courtney Conlogue, super hungry. Steph Gilmore, I reckon she's going to give it a good shake this year as well. So if Carissa's going to come out and win, she's going to have to produce some great surfing.
Well, speaking of Stephanie Gilmore, we almost got to see her debut this season. We got so close to her heat, but the good news for us, we could see her first thing in the morning. Round 1 heat number 6 will feature the 6-time world champ Stephanie Gilmore hitting the lineup with Malia Manuel and Lakey Peterson. Malia fresh off the win at Manly for the Australian Open, and Lakey really 100% with her physical fitness after that ankle injury. How's this one going to play out, Pete?
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to put your money on Stephanie Gilmore. Obviously, her backyard, she knows this wave so well. She's so graceful. She surfs amazing. She's coming off a season again where it was kind of less than stellar for her. But Malia, I like the energy that she showed at Manly. I was able to watch that entire event. And she looks hungry for a win. So, I mean, I think that and the ladies are always going to pay attention to what's going on the qualifying series. So they're watching that. I mean, we saw Stephanie kind of do a bit of the 6,000 in Newcastle, right?
That's right.
And she didn't fare all that well. I mean, so, again, it's one of those things where you kind of have your money on Stephanie, but I like that she's going to be pushed by the other 2 women in that heat.
It was almost a similar scenario to Gilmore last season here, where she had the highest combined heat totals, maybe the best wow factor in the early rounds, but didn't go all the way to a win. Just like Newcastle QS 6000, she had a 10 with her eyes closed earlier. Go, okay, here we go.
Yep.
Get the trophy ready. But next thing you know, down, early as the quarters. So now we got to see Stephanie connect it all, which used to be something she did in her sleep, Potts.
Yeah, I think Steph's going to come. She's going to be there at the end of the day when the smoke clears. I mean, she's too good not to. I think, there was a couple of losses last year that I reckon really stung Steph, and I think she's too good. I mean, in my eyes, she's one of the greatest of all time women surfers, and I don't think she's done yet, by the way, so I think she's got way more world titles left in her.
When you get a world title, you get critiqued more. Your profile's huge.
Yep.
Tyler Wright, we got to see her today. She got second in her heat. So we transition to the Quicksilver Pro. We're going to get to see how John Florence reacts wearing the Jeep yellow jersey. His round one heat is an absolute classic, featuring an Australian rookie who won the QS, Connor O'Leary, and then that radical wild card free surf factor, Mikey Wright, back here to try to upset the world title race, Pete. That is going to be a fun one to watch.
It always is. I mean, we had been batting about how this whole season is going to be so exciting because we have all these new faces, and we say it each and every year, but this one truly is. And when you add a little wild card like Mikey Wright into the mix, what he did last year at this venue, you know, and his brother being back, it's just like a limelight's going to be focused on it. He's going to have nothing to lose whatsoever, and that style and approach that he already has is even going to be even more released on it. So I think it's going to be a very tough heat for John.
He already wins the haircut of the heat award. But you know, I'm with you, Pete. I think you know, Owen's back. Tyler won a world title. He's got to hold up the Wright family honour, and I think he's going to come out flying. And John's got his work cut out for him for sure.
Well, another heat that just flies off the heat sheet. This never happens. You get to a round one matchup with Fanning with 3 titles, coming back to the tour. Kelly Slater, Jeremy Flores, who's a seasoned vet as well, but the seating's different because Mick just did 5 events last year, so he's got a lower seed than he usually has. We get to see Kelly and Mick in the round one action. I don't know if I can even reflect on a round one match like this before.
No, never. I don't think that's ever happened, and I think Mick did it on purpose, to be honest with you. I think, you know, hey, I'll take half the year off, I'll win one event, and that'll put me in a situation to really throw a spanner in the works. I love it. I can't wait to watch this go down, and this is the first event of the year. I think we're going to see a lot more of this. I can't wait. Good stuff.
The kid in the shadows there, obviously the spotlight's going to be on Mick and Kelly. Jeremy Flores. He has been out there, been putting himself in the lineup, and I watched him put together a wave last night that wow, best wave I'd seen ridden since I've been here. It was just crazy the speed he was carrying. It had some innovation in it, and you watch out for that kid. I think he's going to be, I mean, he's already probably looking at this and been able to stew on the fact that he's going to have everyone looking at Mick and Kelly and thinking that they're going to be the ones. Watch Jeremy.
Exciting heat to look forward to as well. Sebastian Zietz, Owen Wright back in the jersey after taking the whole year off last year, and Ethan Ewing, the exciting rookie that just won a World Junior title. Everyone's already making style comparisons to the late, great Andy Irons. This one's going to be a fun one, but also a celebration feeling with Owen Wright returning to the Jersey Pots.
Yeah, it's just it's such a good feeling, and it's you know, it was a fitting story to what he went through. I mean, you know, to me, I think he was a world title threat when he got injured at Pipe. I thought he was on his way to winning that event. You know, just the year that he had, the 2 perfect heats in Fiji, and I'm just stoked he's back. It's such a good feeling to have Owen back on tour for sure.
One of the solid stories. He's going to get to have his brother, Mikey Wright, his sister, Tyler Wright, on the other side. Definitely one of the best surfing families of all time.
Just like the old days, right? In the van.
It's going to be great to see. Pete Mel, you're always focused on the forecast. It looks like there's still a lot of promising signs ahead of us.
There is, and, you know, and I think that when you see a forecast like that, you almost kind of like, oh gosh, it's too good to be true, and you know, is there going to be something going to go on with the winds? And so of course I think that's why we were kind of seeing what we had today and said, hey, we got some tides that are low, there's some overhead sets, let's do this, let's get out there in the lineup. And so we got out there and ran a few heats, and you know, going forward it looks really good. As a matter of fact, the forecast showed a bit of an increase there for the weekend, so it's going to be pretty wild.
Really impressive to see what's unfolding. Sometimes you just hope that you get swell for the start of the season. All the locals are saying all the stars could be aligning for a pretty fantastic weekend. So if you haven't checked out your fantasy teams yet, go to worldsurfleague.com and make your predictions for what might happen as early as tomorrow. For now, we'll say goodbye. Thanks for watching the opening day of the World Surf League Championship Tour, and we'll see you bright and early for the call.